Hi, in this video, we're going to cover um, what are the chords associated with any given key. Because up to now, we've only talked about the notes in a key, but as you know, we also have chords that are associated with every key. So I'm going to explain that, and then a follow-on topic, I'm going to talk about something called the Nashville numbering system. And this is one of those, let's give it a name and organize it, things about music theory. So we'll talk about that too. So let's start off. Um, as you remember in the earlier lesson, we worked out three examples of what the notes are in a given key. We worked out the key of C, key of A, and key of F. Of course, the same concepts work for all keys. So these were just examples. So if we look in general, you can imagine there's a set pattern that we go through. So if we looked at, for example, the key of C, first off, I'm going to tell you that the first chord in the C key of C is a C major. So I'm going to write major first, major. Okay. The second chord will be a D minor. So I'm going to write minor. The, the next chord would be an E. You see the pattern, it's already going in alphabetical order, just like the notes. So it'll be an E minor. So I'm going to write minor. Sorry. Next will be an F. It'll be an F major. Then it'll be a G major. Then it'll be A minor. And then the seventh chord is something crazy called a diminished. Oops, let's not do that. Hang on, guys. Okay, diminished. And I'm going to tell you up front, we're not talking about diminished in this video. They are so seldom used, but I'll show you how they're noted, okay? So in A, we got A major, right? Oh, sorry, not A, sorry, we're doing C, key of C. C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, and this would be B diminished. That's the notation. That's all you need to know. Dim means diminished. I'm not even going to tell you what a diminished chord is. So you can probably figure out it's a set pattern, so it works for A also. So for the key of A, you got A, B minor, C minor, sorry, C sharp minor, D, E major, right? F sharp minor, and G sharp diminished. Those are the chords. Okay. In the key of F, F major, oops, sorry, G minor, A minor, B flat, C, D minor, E diminished. Okay, so those are examples. Most of these chords you probably know, or a lot of the chords you've been exposed to already. So the major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished is a set pattern that's true for all keys. Okay, so you should be able to do that to any key now. All right, thanks. Okay, um, I'm going to introduce the Nashville numbering system now, and I'm going to, after I explain it to you, I'm going to immediately modify it to do it my way because I'll be frank, I do not like the Nashville numbering system, and as soon as I show it to you, you will understand why also you will not like it. So, um, but the basic concept is good. So we're going to stick with the concept, but modify the actual usage. So just like when we did the notes in any given key, we were able to number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No surprise, we're going to do the same thing with the chords, right? The C chord will be a 1, D minor will be a 2, how Nashville chooses to do it. There's two components to this. One is um, they use Roman numerals. Okay, so one chord is an I. Gotta love it, right? Okay, minor chords are use little letters. So the two chord is a I with little letters. Okay, the third is I. Gotta hate it, right? Okay, major chords use capital letters, so I'm going to use IV for 4, capital V for 5, little vi for the minor 6, and the diminished is even worse. Okay, it's a little VII, but it also uses basically the degree symbol, which is superscripted. So I don't have that font on this program, but I'm just going to indicate it as a little. So we're not going to use this. What we're going to do is something I consider a lot more sensible. I'm going to just say the one chord's a 1, thank you. A 2 chord, I'm just going to say if I say it's a 2, consider it a major chord, unless I put a little m, which makes it a minor chord. So this is 2 minor. We're going to do a 3 minor, 4, 5, 6 minor. This will be 7 diminished. Okay, the reason I like to do this because it's consistent with how we write the notes or the chords anyway. So, for example, in the key of C, I just call it C, right? We call that D minor. Sorry, E minor. E minor. F. F. G. A minor. And then B dim. So I like doing it this way because it's just more consistent. It's easier to read. It's actually more efficient because it's just fewer characters. So we're going to run with this, but the key point is um, when I talk about what chord it is, we're going to talk about, you're going to hear us, you've already heard us talk about chord numbers. So if I said, what's the 4 chord in the key of F, or key of C, it would be F, right? I'm going to talk a little bit about common chord progressions. Because there are certain chord progressions in songs that come up very regularly, and we've probably already experienced some of these. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna pause here, and uh, we'll talk a little bit about common chord progressions. Okay. You'll see I also, in the example we're working out, I put the chords for the F scale as well, or the key of F as well. just down here as an example. And I want to show a practical example of why we're doing this Nashville numbering system. So let's go look at here. I'm going to give you a very familiar song. This is the one you started out with, right? Which Lion Sleeps Tonight, and we kept saying it's a very repeated chord progression. The chord progression was C, F, C, G7. Oh, we got a 7. We've never talked about 7s, right? A 7 chord is just, in this particular case, in the key of C, you saw that it was a chord, the number of the chord was 5. So the way that we would denote that would be 5 with a superscript 7. So I'm going to do that instead of allowing. So that would be how we would denote my numbering system. So this would be a 5-7. We could just call this a 5-7 chord. So in this case, G7 is in the key of C is a 5-7. Okay. So hopefully that didn't confuse you. So we would just call that just write it as G7. But the numbering system, I just put a superscript to indicate that this is a 7 chord. It's the 5th chord in the key, and it's a 7 chord. Okay, let's just make that distinction. But what I also am saying is that a 7 chord is a totally legitimate substitution for a regular 5 chord. Okay? So let's look at this example. Let's look at we're in the key of C for Lion Sleeps Tonight. So the first C, as you know, is a 1 chord. Okay. The F, let's go down to our example. The F is a 4 chord. Okay, then we go back to C. It's a 1 again. And the G, you know, is a 5 chord, but I'm going to call it a 5-7 chord because it's, come on, you can do that. I got to copy and paste this. Control C. So this is our chord progression. It's a 1-4-1-5 progression, or you can say 1-4-1-5 set to the 7 progression. Okay. How is that useful? That just seems like regular information. Well, what if I said, let's play this in the key of F? You're going to go, oh, what do I do, right? Well, no. What you're going to say is, what is the 1, 4, and 5 in the key of F? And so the key, so let me write this down first. Okay, in the key of C, this was C, oh, sorry. C, F, C, G, 7. In the key of F, this would be F because F is the 1 chord. What's the 4 chord in F? It's a B flat. And then F again, which is the 1 chord. What's the 5 chord in F? C. So this would be a C 7. Let me superscript that. No, sorry, no. Oh, it didn't. Oh, that's weird. Oh, I see what's going on. Sorry, these are all. Sorry. Okay, that's more better. Line that up. Okay, so that's what's going on. So if you played in this, in the key of F, you know, we'd say wing away, a 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 wing away, key of F versus weem away. This is the key of C. Weem away, a 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 weem away. So this is how musicians just get up on stage and say, what are we playing? What key are we in? Because you may be used to playing it in the key of C. This is one of the tools that says, okay, if I wanted to play in the key of F or G or whatever, this is the beginning, the knowledge that gets you there. So I know it's a little esoteric, but when we talk about chord numbers, I want you to know what we're talking about. Okay. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple examples of the songs we've already worked on, just so you kind of get used to this. I've also added the G scale chords because we just did Lion Sleeps Tonight, which is key of C. It was a 1-4-1-5 progression. Okay, you can ignore the 7 until you're ready to play, and then you just emphasize that superscript 7. We also have done Leaving on a Jet Plane, and again, this was a repeated pattern in the song, right? So this is why it's useful. So in this case, we're in the key of G. How do I know that? Most songs in the key of G start in with the G chord, but if you look at the other chords, they're consistent as well. So if I looked at this, I got G, C, G, C, G, C, D, D, right? So what are we dealing with here? Looks like in the key of F, let's see, I'm going to do this. In the key of, sorry, in the key of G, the G is a 1. And the C, look at that, is a 4. Then you go 1, 4, 1, 4, and then the D you'll see is a 5, right? Right, so G here goes G, C, so G was a 1, C was a 4, G, 1, 4, 1, 4, and then you ended on the 5, which is a D, so that's the second one actually. So that's the literal chord progression, but we would probably just refer to that as a 1-4-5 progression. And then since you'd be so familiar with that song because you played it a million times, you know when to drop between the 1, the 4, and the 5. And so that's an example. Let's go to Stand By Me. Again, Stand By Me has a very repeated pattern. In this case, they're in the key of C. So look at your C chords. It's a 1. It's repeated twice, right? 1. A minor is a 6. So 6 is repeated twice, right? F is a 4. G, 7 is a 5. You can put the superscript on your own, and then back to 1. So we would actually say this is a 1-6-4-5 progression. Those are the major changes. So just for information, because I want you to think in these terms, I'm going to stop. Okay. In general, 90% of the songs you will ever run into fall in particular progressions, and you're going to see certain chords in every key are always used. So the most common progressions, like I said, 80-90% fall in this pattern. It's a 1, 5, 6, 4. Okay, 6, 4, 1. You don't have to memorize this. 1, 6, 4, 5. Oops. 2-5-1, 1-4-5, 1-5-4, 1-6-2-5. Okay. Like I said, you don't have to memorize, but what you're going to realize is that there are certain chords that are played more than others. You always play the 1, that's universal. High probability you're going to play the 4 and the 5 chord. 6 is pretty common. 2 happens once in a while, and 3 is not too often. I mean, they're sprinkled in there. But these are the common chord progressions. So what would be a good exercise is look at this list and then pick your favorite key, which is probably the key of C. And just for fun, play these chord progressions and see what they sound like. You know, so like this would be, and this first one would be C, G, A minor, F, right? So it'd be C, G, A minor. Okay, you could do that, or you can do it this way, right? You got A minor, F, C, G, right? So it's A minor, G, C. Oh, sorry, I screwed up. So A minor, F, C, G. Okay. This one would be C, A minor, F, and G. So it's C, A minor. And those kind of sound familiar, right? 2-5-1 would be a D minor, G, C. So D minor. This one should really sound familiar because it's I'm lying on the moon. Moon sounds a 2-5-1 progression. Okay. So anyway, just to give you a feel, play around with that. You will soon realize that with this information, you know how to play 80-90% of the songs in the world. All right, I'm gonna end it here. Thank you.